Hi, friends. It's Saturday, November 15th, when we are recording the November Free Minute. So, welcome everybody. Recording on a weekend, actually going hiking on the Appalachian Trail tomorrow. We're just recording a little bit early today. Let's talk about what happened in November because it was an incredibly important economic and political month in a way that really shapes end of year giving and a lot of things that we should be doing a little bit differently right now. So first, we just ended the longest government shutdown in US history, and that had a real impact on demand for nonprofit services. So issues with SNAP benefits and others. Um, it furloughed almost 900,000 federal workers. It disrupted food assistance and housing programs. It strained safety nets. Economists estimate it permanently cost the US economy billions in lost outputs. For nonprofits, the takeaway is pretty simple. For a lot of you, the shock, increased need, the elevated demand will carry forward into December for food banks, for housing groups, for direct service nonprofits. They're already reporting heavier caseloads, and historically, when government steps back, donors often have to step forward. So as you prepare for year-end campaigns, anchor your message in real need, real urgency, and real stories from the communities that you have. On the flip side, markets are a little jittery, but still extremely strong on a historical basis, making non-cash giving essential. I just looked. The S&P 500 is up 15% year to date, which is a very, very strong year. And we saw a little bit of tech pullback, a little bit of broader global uncertainty, but overall, just very strong, sitting close to historic highs. So this creates a very specific fundraising opportunity. It is an ideal environment for stock gifts, donor advised fund grants, qualified charitable distributions. In fact, I think last week I heard from a one nonprofit that they've seen their QCDs from IRAs double this year. So you're seeing a huge shift towards non-cash giving across the board. You're also seeing a lot of folks trying to give extra this year in advance of tax changes coming next year. So in every December email, every Giving Tuesday message, et cetera, keep talking about, donating appreciated stock for a smarter gift. If you have a donor advised fund, consider making a grant. If you have an IRA, consider making a QCD. We know that cash giving slows in uncertain times, but non-cash giving grows when the stock market is up, which is exactly where we are. So nonprofits who emphasize this will outperform. Recently, I recorded a video with Dr. Russell James. We'll include a link to this in on our webpage here. You can see it below. And what that did is that is a message for donors. Dr. Russell James, as many of you know, is probably the leading academic in the world on giving. And he talks about what donors should be thinking about and how they should be giving this end of year. And so if you haven't already, I would definitely share that with your major donors or even share it with your full email list. As I mentioned before, we're seeing wealthy donors are strong while lower income households are struggling. So this might be one of the most important shifts towards end of year. Even as markets rise, lower income and middle class Americans are under increasing financial strain. Consumer sentiment is near historic lows. Household saving rates have fallen. We saw there's some not good news that as credit card delinquencies have climbed back to levels not seen since 2009. These are people who basically just can't pay their credit card bills. That's not a good sign. And it's specifically not a good sign for lower income Americans. And so when you think about this, you still want to be sending broad based um, fundraising emails, et cetera, but we might be expecting fewer small dollar donations, especially as some small dollar donors look forward to next year when they're going to get some benefit, even if they don't itemize. So it may be a slower year for small dollar donors, while being a larger year for major donors, especially those giving non-cash gifts. So keep an eye on that. The last thing I want to say here is there's a really fascinating cultural moment that intersects with technology and has some broader implications across the board. And that is this past week, there was a song called Walk My Walk by a band called Breaking Rust, which hit number one on the Billboard country digital song sales charts, meaning it just sold more songs than any other country music song this week. Why are we talking about country music? Well, this song and this artist are entirely AI generated. So it's really the first AI hit to reach the top of any chart. And it's pretty striking, right? It just, it's frankly, it's a pretty decent song. It's not my favorite, but it's not the worst. Listened to it a couple times. It's a little catchy. And we're starting to see that not only can AI create music, there was also a recent study that about 97% of listeners can't distinguish between AI and non-AI music, but also it's really good compared to other stuff. And so you're starting to see AI outperform humans in some interesting avenues. And I think as we think about the future of philanthropy, there will be moments where AI is going to be writing a better email than we can write, or a better pitch, or better talking points. And so it's a really interesting thing to keep an eye on. Obviously, there's a lot of downsides to this too. So we'll keep thinking about all of it. Pretty surprising the way the world is turning in 2025. But some of you who are at our uh, either our AI webinars in 2024 or 2025 know that we actually predicted that something like this would happen. So wild to see it all happen, and just sort of a striking time to be alive. So that's your update for November of 2025. We'll see you next month here, and good luck with all of your end of year prep.